Welcome, calligraphers. Today we're going to have a lot of fun setting up our paper for a big project, maybe a presentation that we'll do for your parents or at school, something like that. Well, the first thing we have to decide is, what is our project going to look like? How large is the paper going to be? Well, in this part, we're going to work with a regular 8.5 by 11 inch paper because we want to get our design down first, and we'll talk about ways of setting up our paper and getting our design down so that we can then make a real design in ink. Now I'm going to move the camera position here, so bear with me. Here we have a regular 8.5 by 11 inch piece of paper. It's in what we call landscape position so that it's wider than it is high. The first thing we have to decide is, are we going to center our piece? Is it going to be off to one side to allow writing? In this case, the presentation work I'm working on is going to need to be centered. So how do I find the center of the paper? Well, we could measure. That's so old-fashioned. Let's work ancient way. I'm just going to take something that's straight and go across the diagonals. And I'm going to draw a light line here. And then I'm going to go the other way. Notice this doesn't have to be totally exact. I just need a ballpark for where the center of my paper is. And now I have it. You can see the two light lines here. This is my center. Now, from my center, I want to have a key word here. And the key word is going to be slightly larger than all the others, so I'm just going to sketch out a large word here, and then I'm going to use a calligraphy marker to draw it. This key word is going to be art, and I need that roughly centered on the paper here. So here's the word art centered on the paper. Now on either side, I'm going to have two small words at an angle, like this. And those two words are going to be written smaller. Here we go. So this is just to get an idea of what our paper will look like. Here it is. The art of. Above I'm going to have calligraphy, and below writing well. So calligraphy, the art of writing well. And notice that with the paper centered, I can now determine how to make the top and the bottom fit in. And I want those to go about halfway in between the top and the bottom again. Now to do that, more measuring. That's just under 4 inches. So just under 2 inches will be my bottom here. This is going to be wider than that middle. That's why I wanted this center. So this will be writing and well over here. And this should be just about 4 inches up here as well, if I centered it, and it is. So I can now halfway to there. That will be the center of the top. And this was the center of the bottom. So now let's see what it's going to look like. So the word calligraphy going up here. Doesn't have to be exact. But I want to get an idea of how long this letter will be. This word will be. It's not quite centered. We can solve that in our final draft. And down here, the same thing with writing well. Writing well. Again, both of these are not centered, so now we can measure how long each word is. Now you can see the style. Calligraphy needs to be over a bit more. Writing well needs to be over more. We'll measure those out for our final work, and now we have to decide what's going to go on the side. Now I already pretty much hinted at this. If you look up at the calligraphy here, I've got this tail coming out. And I did that so that I can begin to set up an idea of maybe making a leaf. Coming off the sea, like that. I could even do something similar with the Y, arch it here, and have this be something else, like a fern leaf. Gives me an idea of basic flourishing that I want to do. On the sides over here, perhaps I could make a Roman column. And the Roman columns will be flanking and therefore framing my main work. And up here, I can have some sort of intricate swirls. Something that would look like it's carved in stone. Gives more weight to my presentation here. If I wish down here, I could have more ferns. Anything that will add depth to my work so it's not just about the writing, but about the whole piece of art. Now I'm doing this just very quickly to get some ideas here. Maybe this will be more like a palm leaf here. So just in a few minutes, I now have a basic layout of my presentation piece. It's planned. I know that this centering is good, but this needs to go over a bit, probably needs to be a little bit larger. The writing well looks very sized. It's just off a little bit and it'll come over some. I'll make sure that these edges are the same on my presentation piece, but you can see, look at that. In 10 minutes, I have a good plan for what I want to do. This now is a template. I can sit there and say, this is it. And if I want to, I can add things in pencil and then erase them if I don't like it. My first one that I did was in pencil. I could even make the columns have look like carved lines coming down here. You can make this as simple or as complex you want, but notice how we've set everything up just by the cross in here to determine where the center of our paper is. This looks good. We'll have to move this over. And then, of course, drawing straight lines is the hardest thing of all, but perhaps we'll talk about that in another video. I hope this gives you some idea about how to set up a major project. And let's face it, you've got the time now, right? So let's start working on showing everybody what we've learned this year in calligraphy. And this will be a great way to show off our talents, maybe at a next show that we have in school. All right? Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you soon.